This time on Ask Rad Rat, we design a horror-themed skateboarding game. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding and all kinds of things in the skateboarding world. If you want to submit a question for this series, go to radratvideo.com and you can submit it right there on the homepage. You can also submit them through Patreon. The first question for today is from Bad Bat, who says, in THPS 1 and 2 Remake, in the Create a Skater section, there seems to be a Rad Rat logo you can use. You can apply it to the shirts, I think. Is this a reference to the channel? I know there's a reference to another YouTuber in the mall level. Are you aware of this? If so, could it just be a coincidence or a reference to you and your channel? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Yeah, people pointed this out to me when the game came out, and as far as I know, it's not a reference to me at all. My channel name and like the design I started with was very 80s skateboard themed, and so like my name feels like a vintage skateboarding thing. In fact, I've shown this skateboard before. I just so happened to use the same name that a skateboard design had. It didn't come from that, but so yeah, like it has a very skateboarding feel, and having like a rat, that was a very common design thing back in the day. So I feel like if it was based on me on purpose and they intended to, they would have reached out to me in some way. Not, maybe not to ask permission or anything like that, but just like, have some kind of contact with me, maybe give me a code to play the game early so I could have my review on launch day, that type of thing, or a press kit or something. I feel like they would have been in contact with me in some way if they were putting me in the game. Now, it's possible that someone's job was to design all these stickers and they knew about my channel, but no one higher up did. Anything's possible. My assumption is that it was just a random coincidence. All right, the next question is from Ethan, who says, would you rather have the skills of Daewon Song or the skills of Rodney Mullen? So I think this is kind of an interesting one. So if I could inherit someone's skills and I could skate just as well as they could, who would I pick? I would probably go with Daewon Song, and here's the reason why. Rodney Mullen is my favorite skater of all time, one of the most important skaters of all time. Huge respect for him. I would love to have his skills. But the problem is he's so distinct in the way he skates. If you ever do a freestyle trick, even stuff that Mullen was either not known for or didn't invent, he didn't invent Caspers and finger flips and this type of stuff. But if you ever do that, people always say, oh, is this the next Rodney Mullen? Do a freestyle trick and upload it on Instagram or whatever. Every comment, what, are you trying to be Rodney Mullen? Like, that's all it ever is. So if I were to inherit all of his abilities, I would have a ton of fun. But I don't think I could ever like record anything, because there would just be this constant comparison of Rodney Mullen, and he's trying to rip off Rodney Mullen. He's doing Rodney Mullen stuff. If you were to pick Daewon Song, he has such a wide skill set. He can do anything. He can do super tech, street stuff, flip in, flip out. He can do transition, he can do all kinds. He can tray flip on anything, including rocks, and he can do a manual and pull his wheel off. Like, you can get his skills and not do stuff that looks like him, right? You could do tech stuff, and you wouldn't think, oh, that guy's trying to be the next Daewon Song. It would just be, oh, he did a fakie flip. Well, if he did a fakie flip 5-0, that's like a Daewon Song trick. But aside from that, if you were to do any kind of tech stuff, it would just be cool tech stuff. It wouldn't be Daewon Song ripoff. And being able to do anything in any location, go to any skate park and do cool stuff, that would be incredible. If I had all that freestyle skill, I couldn't really go to the skate park and do something on transition. I'm sure Rodney Mullen has some skill in transition a little bit, but not like Daewon Song. So I think that would be more fun, and that would be more, you'd get less criticism for skating like Daewon Song, I think. Okay. Next question is from John, who says, if you love skateboarding so much, why don't you live somewhere that facilitates skateboarding more, e.g. California? It's probably a boring logistical answer, but I figured you might have a Rowley-esque answer about how you need the weather to tell you when to skate and when not to. So I'm from Michigan, and I moved to Colorado. In Michigan, I lived in a swamp, so it was even wetter and snowier than normal, and it's horrible. It would snow like up to your knees and just stay there for months. You could try to shovel it, you could try to plow it, and it might dry off, but it's more likely to snow again by the time, like, I moved, but it wasn't necessarily for skateboarding. That was just a bonus. I just didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in the dreary dark all the time. I didn't want it to be so humid constantly. I wanted somewhere with some sun, and I moved to Colorado. So my ex-wife, she had friends in the area, so we came out to see them. We drove around and saw all the different towns. We went to Denver. We went to all these different places and just checked it out and really liked the area. So, like, it's a lot better for skateboarding, but it wasn't a skateboarding move. It was just a life move. I don't think I would ever move to California anyway, because my work is all online, right? If I could live anywhere. Now, time zones will make it a little bit weird because all my clients are Eastern time zone, whatever. Long story, but if I moved to California where everything's more expensive, I'd make the same amount of money I still do now. And I think it would be a little bit harder. So, like, the draw of having slightly easier skateboarding than I do here, which it's really nice here, it's not that much. Although sometimes I get invited to like a premiere for a new video, or like, hey, can you come be on this podcast? Like, I got invited by the barracks to come be on a podcast. Like, yeah, just drive on over. And like, drive over. I'm in a different state. Can't we do it on Skype or something? But no. So it would make the channel a little bit easier. But I like where I'm at now. Okay, next question is from Jimmy. If you could time travel to any era of skateboarding, what year would you go to? Would you show them all of your modern tricks, or would you keep all the stuff to yourself as to not alter the course of skate history? That's a complicated one. I think the only era of skateboarding I would really enjoy is like 1991 or 2, because skateboarding to me just seems so pure and fun at the time. Like, you could skate on a curb and do like a flat ground kickflip nose manual across like a parking space and land it, and like that would end up in a video part. You could do slappies, you could do, like the kind of stuff that I was doing, the kind of stuff that's just fun. Having that kind of session where you can go out and you can just grind on a curb and you can try some weird flip trick, land it and kick turn and turn over there, but it's fine. That would feel a lot more fun to me than trying to, like if I was trying to make it as a skateboarder. That's not going to happen, but I'm going to take your question that way. Because for me to time travel, I would use it to like invest in Apple. When it first hit the stock market, I would do that kind of stuff. I would buy lots of gold in the 90s when it was cheap, like that kind of thing. I wouldn't necessarily go to just try to make it as a pro. But if I was going to go skate with the pros in any time period, that's the time that I would do it. I don't think I would be able to do anything that would be incredibly impressive in the 90s. I think I would have to go further back. To be able to do a 360 flip on flat and have people be blown away by it on a street board, I think I'd have to go back a little bit further, so where my skills would be incredibly impressive. But yeah, I liked the vibe of the 90s. I like where skateboarding went, but I think for me to just hang out with people and skate, the kind of sessions that people were having back then and recording seemed a lot more fun. All right. Last question is from Julian, who says, here's a video game related question. You're given a task to make a skateboarding game, but it can only fit in the horror genre. How would you put skateboarding and horror together? Okay, so I recently played a game on Xbox called Medium. And in that game, you are in like a rundown, it's a resort or like a rehab or some kind of building like that. And you're being chased by a giant monster sometimes. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's a very good game. You should play it if you have access to it. And so like you don't fight back at all. You don't have a gun. You don't have any kind of whatever. You just have to run and hide from this monster that chases you. And I was thinking about adding a skateboard into that somehow, because there's this one scene where you're running down this hallway and you've got to turn because this side is like collapsed, and then you've got to like run around this thing, and you've just got to make these perfect, you have to make these split second choices of left or right and get away from this monster. And I was thinking about like what that would be like if you're on a skateboard. So you're bombing down a hill you know, and it's like a post-apocalyptic type of world. In this game, there was a nuclear, you know, it's like a Fallout style. There's mutated whatever dogs that have become these monsters. There's all the scooter kids have become these giant creatures, and you know, that type of thing. Those are all the enemies in the game. And I was just picturing, what if you were on a skateboard during that scene? So you're going down a hill. There's a car that's over here that's flipped over. There's a big pothole or something, and you've got to steer and carve around this as you're being chased by something. I feel like that could be kind of fun. And I think you could make a whole game. I don't think it could be a skateboarding game, you know, where skateboarding is everything, unless you went really tongue-in-cheek. But I think skateboarding could be a big part of it. So I'm thinking about, maybe you are exploring an old skate park, like one of the ones from way back in the day with all the snake runs and stuff like that. And you have to, I don't know, you're trying to find something that's at the store that would, like the shop that's in the middle of, I don't know. It'd have to be a big compound that you'd be going to. And so you're being chased by the dogs and the BMXers and the scooter kids and all that kind of stuff that are all mutated and scary. And you would do those chase scenes sometimes. You'd be going down the snake run. You would be bombing a hill. You would be just going down a parking lot, or somehow you're being chased from time to time. But I like the idea of it being a more traditional, like a survival horror type game. So you would have a gun and you've got like potions, you know, like health potions and that type, like a more traditional survival horror video game type of thing, but with a skateboard. And you could upgrade things in different ways. So you found some metal and some stuff, and you can either craft some more ammo, or you can craft better bearings, or you can craft like an edge on your board so that you can hit with it. So when you're out of ammo, you can switch to your skateboard and you can hit with that. Like, there could be some strategy in exactly how you upgrade your stuff so that you could survive through this situation. Now, I feel like if you tried to do that dead serious, it wouldn't really work. Like the idea that, because like, you know, if you hit a rock this big, you're dead, right? Like, you have to have really nice ground to be able to skate on. It would be hard to swallow the idea that you're skating away from enemies and that's your first option. But so I feel like you'd have to be kind of not serious about it, but you couldn't go too far. It would be a really tough line to try to follow. But like, so you go through all this stuff, you've explored, you found the thing that you're trying to find, and you get confronted by the final boss, who is Danny Way. And it's not going to be Tony Hawk, because he's in every video game, right? So it'd have to be someone important to skateboarding. That's who I picked. And he is mutated right now. He's the mutated Danny Way. He doesn't challenge you to like a skateboarding challenge or anything, because he's like a monster. But he's going to chase you, and you have to try to outskate him. And you can't, because he's Danny Way and he's a lot better than you. So he catches you, and then that's the final cutscene where you pull out the thing that you found and you convert him back into normal Danny Way. And he takes you to Skater Island, where the mutation never hit, and you live in skate paradise for the rest of your life. That's the game. It would have to be like kind of serious to be scary, because it's, you know, it's supposed to actually be scary, not just horror themed, but like actually scary. So there would be some horror moments, but the story would have to get a little bit ridiculous for skateboarding to fit in it. But that's the concept I came up with. If you have a better one, put it in the comments. And if you have a question, go to radratvideo.com and submit it there. You can submit it through Patreon as well. You can also support the channel by hitting the join button below, which will give you some perks that you can check out. And that's it for now. If you're subscribed, thanks for that. Hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.